All right.
Hello, Timothy Simpson. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Great. I look forward to interviewing you today, and I'm excited to have you on this show to share your business expertise. I would like to personally start off with endorsing Mr. Timothy Simpson. When I was in transition this year in June, and I was relocating from St. Louis, Missouri to Dallas, Texas. Timothy's services gave me so much value that I have checked in with him quite often this year alone with just business questions and advice that I have. One thing he did for my business was he gave me value. And how he gave me that value was he gave me new ideas. He explained to me the importance of being in a digital age and how to utilize certain strategies. He gave me new business ideas that I was able to implement in my business. He even he didn't stop there. He even gave me inspired and motivate me to come up with additional businesses that I started this year alone. So I can personally endorse him and say that he listens well, he gives great advice, and he can give you new ideas, new refreshed ideas for your business to help take your business to the next level. And I would recommend working with him long term. If you work with him long term, what he can do for your business is also increase profit. So, Timothy, what I would like to do today is I want to ask you a few questions. What can you share about us about your education, how you got started?
Yes, ma'am. And thanks for having me too. Um, I have a very diverse background. My stepdad was in the army, so I traveled the world for like probably the first 14 years of my life. I lived in Germany 8 years. I lived in Oklahoma, Kansas, and Georgia. So I basically went to school all over. I graduated in 1998 from Clinton High School. I went to Benedict College here in Columbia my first year out, and which is the HBCU, one of the most, I think it's kind of one of the oldest HBCUs, a
Mhm.
pretty good school. My father also went there, and then he went on to become a district circuit judge. I transferred to USC after my first year with hopes of becoming a lawyer and a sports agent. So I transferred to the University of South Carolina, where I went there for 4 years. Yes, ma'am.
And
So
what did you
that's
get your degree in specifically again?
actually, I was a political science major. I was a political science major, and then my minor was sport and entertainment management.
Great, great. And how do you think you were able to transfer your educational background into your business background?
Okay. Well, I'll answer it like the founder of Ford Motors, Henry Ford. Now, he was more big on self-education, which I am too. So just say I, even as early as maybe 19, I got into self-help books like Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad Poor Dad, in which I highly endorse now because they've created more millionaires than any other book.
I agree. And can you repeat those two book titles again?
Think and Grow Rich and Rich Dad Poor Dad. And
Yes,
I
and I
actually have a book club in which I, send those the same books that I read to kind of elevate. So I would say how my education translated into business was more on the self-education end because I just say school is structured. So you're gonna learn based on curriculum, based on the agenda, the syllabus, versus you creating your own education, meaning you can learn about finance, marketing, entrepreneurship, business, so on and so forth. So I basically structured my own MBA basically, and it was from virtual mentors, watching videos on YouTube, the Les Browns, the Eric Thomas, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar. Like so, for every subject I needed to learn, I found a virtual mentor that was at the top of their game in that field, and I would basically consume the information from them and then apply it into real life. Because most people think that knowledge itself is power, when actually it's knowledge applied is power.
Wonderful. And I can personally endorse those two books as well. Those were some of the two books I read when I started getting into the business world was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I love that book. And what you said about just power and really just pushing through. What
Oh
I
yeah,
get from you is just pushing through. That's incredible.
yes
What are
ma'am.
some of the challenges and obstacles that you went through getting started as an entrepreneur as a young man?
Gotcha. Now I would say the main challenge which most people face is lack of finance. Sorry, just say, I was starting multiple businesses in college. So I had a full-time college schedule. I also had a full-time job. And so what I tell people is, instead of saying you don't have money, you want to basically look at how you're spending your money currently, whether it's fast food, clothes, shoes, materialism. So I
Yes.
basically took my job income, which I call working capital, and then I invested in other businesses. So just say I started my LLC in 2002. All right. From my job, and I actually was loss prevention at Parisian's department store. So I was only making about $400 a week. But what I did was I used that money along with the partner. We basically contributed about $500 a month a piece until we could start buying businesses. And then the first business we bought was actually a commercial cleaning franchise. All right. Then we had a restaurant. Then we basically used our money to buy an existing lawn care service out of the Carolina trader. So we basically scaled up, and we used business income after we used the work income. We used business income to buy other businesses. So,
That was smart.
Yes, ma'am. So yeah, that was my first major challenge, was probably just startup capital, in which, like I said, I figured that out.
Now, what are some ways that people can come up with startup capital? That's the many reasons why many people do not start a business, is because they don't have the capital. So what are some of the ways that you were able to come up with capital? What are some of the ways you could share with others that may not have resources or have money?
Okay. Like I said, one way is basically using your income from the job. All right. So you can use your income, and you basically just kind of put, I would say, even if it's just $100 a month, just put it to the side. And when it accumulates enough to buy a business or start a business, you do that. You can also use your 401k. I've started businesses off 401k. I've used my GI Bill money from the Army to start businesses, income tax money. I've even went as far as using a payday loan to start a business, and
Yes.
the $500 overdraft that the bank gives you. So I've
Wow. You
actually
were determined.
six-figure businesses based on not having the income, and using just whatever was available.
So you used 401k, payday loans, overdraft, GI bills, smart techniques, things that people don't think about. So they don't always have to go the long route, correct?
I've never got a bank loan. So everything was basically self-financed, never sold drugs. So it was either self-financed through creative financing, or from working capital, meaning I worked, saved the capital, invested in my business.
So you utilized your job income to reinvest and put back into your startup business, which is smart. A lot of people don't think that they can do that, but they can do that.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I would say the average person, if you just look at the personal finances, probably spends anywhere from $200 to $600 a month on takeout food.
That's true.
That amount is enough to launch a business.
I'm guilty of that. I've been working on that. Spending too much money on takeout food. I've been meal prepping and cooking more at home. Trust me, that is the biggest cost, is food and shoes, which I don't have a shoe problem, but I will admit I've spent too much money on takeout food, and I'm learning not to do that anymore.
Oh yeah, you just gotta basically redistribute the funds, or
exactly.
Just point them towards, hey, look, instead of $500 a month on takeout,
yes,
let me spend $250, and then the other $250 I'll put in a business account. That way I could either buy more products or create services, or even spend it on advertising and marketing.
Yes. That's great. Now, what are some of the things you do to structure your day and stay organized being a business owner?
Okay. I really believe in a to-do list. Like, if you just write your 3 major tasks down each day, it'll make you more productive, more efficient, because some people are what you call busy. Busy being that you got a lot of activities, but not a high completion rate. So you want to be productive, not busy. So just say a to-do list. I even text myself. Like, I'll text myself, hey, do this, and that. And then once I, get to a workstation or my computer, or, wherever I'm going to perform the task at, then I just basically mark off the list. So you want to basically plan your work and work your plan, as they say in the Army.
Yes. So do you basically have like a top priority and low priority list?
Actually, the funny thing is I created a to-do list pad. Originally, it was called the production pad. I just recently converted it into my junior CEO academy to-do list. But yeah, and on that pad, it has an arrow that says top priority and low priority. Now,
Really?
me being a seasoned person that usually do to-do lists, I automatically know, all right, top priority first, and then as the list gets down, then it's like, okay, micro tasks. So it's like I start with the big tasks and try to knock those out first.
Wonderful. So how many businesses have you owned?
Okay. I've owned, now if I added the three that I started before I was 13, because I actually started my first business at 8, second one
Wonderful.
at 10, third one at 12. So I had three businesses before I was 13. And then from age 19 to age 33, I launched 11 different businesses. So I had two
Wow.
commercial cleaning franchises. I had two independent cleaning companies, two tire shops, two restaurants, an event planning company, a lawn care service, online loan processing company, a digital marketing firm, and a few other ventures. So I've had a lot.
Wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh, I take my hat out to you. So how many businesses do you currently own?
All right, now I just sold my first tire shop February this year. So my cleaning company in 2016, in which it was a really really big company. I had clients like Best Buy, Office Depot, PetSmart, Bilo, Food Line, like really big contracts. So basically, the first would say the businesses that I started between age 19 and 33 were mainly profit-based businesses, meaning they
Hmm.
had no passion, just straight profit. And
Hmm.
it's a myth that you have to be passionate to profit. It's a myth because I started multiple businesses that really prospered and I had no passion for it. So
Okay.
now I'm in my passion businesses. So I have my coaching and consulting agency, which is Simpson Coaching and Consulting Agency. I'm passionate about that. And then I also have a global youth development and parent development company called Junior CEO Academy. So I'll kind of scale it back to those two main companies. Then I have a book club. Then I have a online directory for Black-owned businesses.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And give us some information about your junior academy.
Okay. My Junior CEO Academy, like we basically have four pillar courses. We have an entrepreneurship course, a personal development course, a leadership course, and a financial literacy course. Now, right now, we have 9 independent academies in 9 different states, and then we actually have one in Ghana, Africa. So they're independent
Wonderful.
by instructors, and I basically give them the curriculum, the marketing materials, and then they basically reteach and resell the programs.
And you mean to tell me you have an academy in Ghana, Africa?
Yes, ma'am.
That's huge. How did
Yeah.
you get to Ghana? What motivated you and gave you the mindset to go that far? Most people don't have that in them.
I would say now, being that we're in a digital era, like I actually connected with someone on LinkedIn, a young guy, Eugene, really sharp young guy, and he saw me posting about the academy, and he was like, "Hey, I'm interested." So I pretty much got him the information and got him set up. So I'll actually be visiting Ghana next October. So I'll be going to Ghana.
Wow. Congratulations. That's huge.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Tell us, you told me you made over $2 million in business. How did you reach that benchmark? That most people can't even reach six figures a year, let alone $2 million.
Okay.
Over $2
Now,
million.
the easiest way is, all right, the average millionaire has 7 to 8 streams of income. All right. So just say most people that say, I want to be rich or a millionaire, they don't understand that one income is basically contrary to what other people did to get there. All right. The average millionaire has 7 to 8 streams of income. So if you can internalize that, that means they have 7 to 8 different sources coming in versus one source. Like if you have a job and then you got multiple bills, you got a car note, you got insurance, you got rent, you might got child care, you got food care, you
Mhm.
got clothing costs. So just say it really doesn't, it's not feasible to get rich off of one income unless
Exactly.
one income is paying you like a high 6 figure income and then you're good at saving. So I basically use the strategy of multiple streams of income. So just say at one point, a couple years ago, I was running my company was doing $500,000 a year. I had my cleaning company was doing like 388,000 a year. My I think you got a call. Can you hear me still?
Yes.
All right. Somebody's actually calling in. I don't know how to. Let me see if I can.
Yes. How
Okay,
do
cool. All
I
right.
read?
So, all right. Just say a couple years ago, I was running a $500,000 LLC. So I had a high six-figure cleaning company, six-figure tire shop, and then a five-figure digital marketing company. So basically, with those streams of income, it just pretty much adds up. And then you kind of make good on that, whether it's investing, saving, or you keep purchasing more assets.
Wow, that's awesome. And we have time for FAQ questions. So you were going to do a FAQ.
Gotcha.
Do we have any hidden callers on that would like to ask questions?
It seems like I hear somebody, but I can't really make out what they're saying.
Hello? Yeah, because we have 3 participants on.
Okay, and actually they can type the question too.
So you can type the question if you would like to.
And usually it'll show up either on the left or the top. I can't really see anything right now.
Um,
Okay. If not, you can ask me, anything that you think your audience would probably want to hear.
Yes, I think what most people want to know is how to persevere through being a business owner. Being a business owner is tough. It's hard work. How
Okay.
can people persevere through that?
All right, good question. Now, I'll answer it the same method I use. All right. Just like you wouldn't put gas in a car and it lasts forever, like you need to basically gas up once a week, every other week, or once, twice a month. So I tell people, all right, just say gas for an entrepreneur or an aspiring somebody would be motivation. So I just say I listen to motivational speakers daily, like Les Brown, Eric Thomas, Brian Tracy, Gary Vee. So you basically want to give yourself a chance to be around positive energy, even if it's through a YouTube video, even if it's through an audio book. So you basically want to stay motivated, stay energized by listening to people whose passion is motivating other people. And that's basically what worked for me over the years.
What are some of the things that you do to stay afloat as a business owner, to stay in a positive mindset through at all times? It's hard staying positive when you're faced with so many obstacles, personal problems. It could be a financial problem that just came up. How do
Yeah.
you stay positive and stay motivated through those times as a business owner?
Well, the first thing is I try not to take it personal. I look like I did a post the other day on Facebook about I'm a master at turning lemons into lemonade. So
Yes.
rather than take it personal, like, hey, why me and the world is picking on me, you got to be optimistic. So you say, all right, what am I going to learn from this challenge? Because it's a lesson in the challenge. Just like in the word testimony, the first 4 letters are test, right? So no test, no testimony. And then even within the word, like if you break down the syllables, at the last 3, the last syllable, money, I just converted it into money. And I say your test, and then you got the I add a S, is your money, testimony. So
I
I
love it.
basically, yes, ma'am. So I just kind of look at everything optimistically.
I love that. And I like how you mentioned testimony. You see everything as a testimony. So what big plans do you have coming up for 2019?
Good question. I actually have a few speaking tours that I'm gonna be on. Um, I'm looking to maybe launch my first business incubator, and then my first physical junior CEO academy, in which basically it'd be an academy, sort of like if you can look at an aftercare program, but we'll basically be teaching entrepreneurship, personal development, financial literacy, and leadership. So it'll basically be
Wonderful.
a really positive, influential, impactful academy to where kids, just say youth, ages 6 and up, they can come there and be coached by other professionals and entrepreneurs.
Now, will that be in North Carolina or all over the world?
The first one will definitely be in South Carolina since I'm a South Carolina native.
Oh, I'm sorry, South Carolina, not North
Yes,
Carolina.
Oh yeah, well, it's Carolina. So the first one would definitely be in South Carolina, and then I would look to probably I'll start with South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia, and then just say if I find some people that it resonates with on the West Coast, then I could strategically get them started. Technically, the same time I get started here.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's great. And what was the business incubator you spoke
Yeah.
of? What is that?
Yes, ma'am. Now, the business incubator would basically be almost like if you can remember, in hospitals they have baby incubators, and the incubator serves as a way to help the baby develop, right? So
Yes.
with business incubators, it do the same thing. So just imagine you come to a building, and all right, you got your business, and you focus on what you're good at, but then you also have marketing support, you have HR support, you have web development support. So all the things that you would have to outsource, it would be in-house, and it would basically serve as a way to help develop your business.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So those are two additional services you're adding next year, as an academy and
Yes,
a
ma'am.
business incubator program for small business owners or medium size.
Small. Like I like to develop the underdogs, because the big guys, they probably don't need help. So it's
Yes.
more like try to get people, like you said, to that six-figure mark, to where they could be self-sufficient and their business has more longevity. Because
Yes,
the more income you have, the more impact you can make, and the
that's
more
true.
income you have, the less stress you have. So,
That's very true indeed. Now, tell us some fun things about you as we wrap up this evening. Well, this morning, I'm sorry. What do you do for fun? Like, besides the businessman, Timothy Simpson, I know you're a father of two, but what are some of the things you enjoy doing outside of business to kind of debreeze from everything?
and actually, I'm a father of five. I actually got four boys and a daughter.
Oh, great, great.
Yeah.
What
Now,
ages?
one, 3, 8, 10, and 21.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So
So,
you're a father of five. What do you guys do for fun?
well, fun for me, I like basketball. Like I've always been into sports, so I like basketball, like traveling, reading. Like it's a newfound hobby, especially if it's something about business, entrepreneurship, some
Yes,
policies, mainly local, culture, like animals. So I'm kind of into like a lot of natural and organic things, um,
great.
besides sports.
Great, great. That's wonderful. And how can people follow you on social media, your website, your phone number, and email? So if somebody would like your services, they can get in contact with you.
Okay. Now my speaking page is gonna be timthemotivator.com. So just timthemotivator.com. My email is also the same, timthemotivator@gmail.com. Facebook, my main page, because I actually have two Facebooks. One of them is /Tim the Motivator, but I'm more active on the Facebook.com/Timbo, which is my country nickname. So TIM, black like black, and then sun like SUN. LinkedIn, I think they can just basically put Timothy Simpson, and I should come up because I'm kind of ranked in the top 5% on
Yes,
LinkedIn. So yeah, I'm pretty accessible, pretty public on all my pages.
yes,
On YouTube, you can basically just type in Tim the Motivator, and then I
great.
have two videos.
Now, behind your head, can we see the phone number as well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the phone number,
Yes,
this it's almost in my flyers. This is 803-261-5948, and I use it, for business and personal, because I like to
great.
be accessible. Because I think all business people should have public profiles. That way,
Yes,
potential clients can see your profile, and then you want to have your number accessible, because it's like, why would you want to screen out people that
yes.
would potentially help build your business?
Exactly. I agree with that. Well, it has been a pleasure interviewing you, and I appreciate your time, you sharing business advice, sharing personal things about your life, as well as how to overcome, the obstacles in life. And congratulations on the big moves you're making next year, a physical academy that's huge. After school program, that's amazing. That's a hard field to break into. So, are you doing fundraising, or are you accepting donations?
No, actually, I'm more aggressive. So I tell people waiting on things like waiting on a grant, waiting on
Yes.
support. I think it's passive. You see what I'm saying? You have to be aggressive. So it's like, hey, you just figure things out as you go.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I did want to share like maybe one other story because I know initially when we talked, you said you want to kind of focus more on the challenges too. So I
Yes.
could kind of tell you, that way just say if there are any aspiring entrepreneurs that are going through hard times, they can still say, all right, well, it's light at the end of the tunnel. All right.
I love
Because
it.
so I'll share, and I know you kind of wanted to keep it short, but I think
No, this is fine.
I got you.
Keep
All
going.
right. So for the sake of the listeners and aspiring entrepreneurs that might be listening, I'll give you two stories where I went through insurmountable odds, we'll say really hard challenges, but I persevered. All right. So the first one, I'll say, all right, just say in 2008, I actually had a corporate job. I was the area manager for a really large cleaning company out of Atlanta. I had a company car, had American Express card, had monthly bonuses, good salary, frequent travel. Like I would go to Hilton Head Island, Myrtle Beach, Panama City, Pensacola. So I had all these wonderful benefits. But at that point, I had already owned multiple businesses. So I knew entrepreneurship was my thing. So it was kind of like a fundraiser. Like I took the job as a fundraiser. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make the money and then I'm gonna just put it into my business. So like I tell people, any job that I had after 21, I always looked at myself as an independent contractor versus an employee. Because all right, they needed me to do the work, I needed them to get paid. That's a business relationship.
Yes.
All right. So what ended up happening was an opportunity came up in 2008 for me to buy an existing restaurant cleaning business that basically was already doing six figures. So I put in my notice, and now look at what I was giving up: company car, cell phone, American Express card, bonus, all this. So that's how much of an entrepreneur I am. So I bought the business. It was probably like $10,000. I bought the business. And the same week that I quit, resigned my job because I did it the right way. I put in a notice and I did my time and then I left. So I'm in Colombia and I get a call from one of the GMs from one of the restaurants that the contracts I had just bought. And he was like, "Hey, look, your guys are not showing up. You need to make something happen or you're going to lose the contract." So here it is. I'm 28. I had just spent, $10,000, which was a lot of money for me, considering I had other obligations. So I had to make a decision: either sit back and lose the business, or move to Savannah, which is in a whole nother state, with no income. All
Yeah.
right. So what I ended up doing, I had a brand new Charger. This is kind of when they first came out. I actually lived in my car for 60 days at the truck stop. So as soon as you cross the South Carolina border, it's a truck stop on the right. I lived in my car for 60 days. Now, the reason why I lived in my car for 60 days, I had spent all my money to buy the business. All right. And then in restaurant cleaning, they do net 60, meaning you don't get paid till 60 days. So, like I said, it was within the first week I bought the business and left my corporate job. So
Wow.
it was hell. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Like it was 60
Yes.
days of hell. So
Yes.
not only did I have to live in my car, I actually had to clean all three restaurants. One macaroni grill, two Longhorns. I had to clean the front and the back, 7 days a week. So you're talking about 13 to 16 hours. Like some days I would be so tired I would fall asleep in the mall parking lot. All right.
Oh.
And then I would wake up, drive back to the rest stop, wash up, get something to eat out. I was living off the dollar menu at Burger King, McDonald's, the vending machine. I was going to the Shell gas station, basically praying that, hey, they would give me a credit for gas.
Yes.
Um, then I even had to make payroll one week. I had to get a payday loan from online, and it worked out. I ended up getting like $4,000. So I went through all 60 days of hell, and then after
Yes.
that, I got my first check, and then I was able to move into a nice apartment, and things got better.
Wow. So what were you telling yourself to keep pushing through that? What were you feeding your mind?
I was focused. Like I didn't want nobody to feel sorry for me. So only 3 people knew, like, and they barely knew. Like they didn't know. Like okay, at night I froze. Like
Yes.
during the day I didn't go to sleep. I fainted because it was hot during the day, cold at night.
Yes.
Um, like I got harassed one time by the police because they actually thought I was sleeping in a stolen car because like my car was really nice.
Yes.
So, I went through a lot. So I still was listening to positive stuff. Like matter of fact, one of the preachers I was listening to was Creflo Dollar. I got a lot of,
Wow.
got a lot of, positive reinforcement from him. Les Brown. I was actually listening to Lil Wayne. This is when he had the Carter 1 or 2. So I was just, I just stayed positive. I didn't allow myself to feel sorry for myself.
Oh, can you say that one more time?
Yeah, I did not allow myself to feel sorry for myself because how it works is it's your dream. So it's like if you want it, you have to go get it. So it was just the test before the money, testimony, the test before the money. Now the second story, and I'll kind of make this one short. All right, so I end up giving. All right, just say I stayed down there for a year, kind of got homesick. I had my oldest son, and then I had a new son on the way. So I wanted to move back to Colombia. So I actually, a guy underbidded me on one of the, and you know about the cleaning business.
Mm-hmm.
A guy underbidded me on one of my contracts.
Yes.
So I turned around and gave him a 6-figure company. Like I called him up like, hey man, you can have the Longhorn, the other Longhorn,
Wow.
grill. I gave him like $13 Generals and probably like 20 SunTrust Banks. So probably about $13,000 a month.
Wow.
Just so I could move back to Colombia. So I moved back to Colombia. I volunteered with the Salvation Army for about a week. Didn't have any income, no direction. Just just was meditating, praying, and then I got a call from Dollar General, and they was like, "Hey, you want to do floors for us again?" And I went from no income to $500 a day.
Wow.
One phone call. Now, things that went pretty good for a while. I was able to get a van. Now my van motor blew. So I was unable to get to my contracts at some point. So what ended up happening was I took a dead-end job at a manufacturing plant. Mm-hmm. So like I said, I always looked at myself as a independent contractor. So the whole time, I was going to work on time, being productive, but I also was writing business plans. All right. So what ended up happening, because they, I was a temp worker, so they weren't really paying much. And then they end up laying me off. So I got laid off. My brand new Charger that I had at the time, probably 2 or 3 years, it got repossessed. I had 2 kids on the way. Well, no, 2 kids, 2 sons. The baby boy was there. So I had no car, no income, and responsibility. That same week I got laid off. Within 10 days, I started an online loan processing company, and I went from no car to driving 2 brand new Mercedes and making $1,200 a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Went from living in your car for 60 days to creating multiple streams of income to getting your own apartment to making over 2 million, which you specifically don't want to give the exact amount of million you gave, which I understand because you're humble. Amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
So who is a good client for you?
Like you mean like with coaching? Like
yes, coaching.
Well, right now I work with aspiring entrepreneurs and existing businesses. So I try to basically, like I'm working with 2 extremes. So people trying to get in the game and then people that's already in the game. And that, like just say for existing businesses, if you're making less than 8,000, like 8,400 a month, I try to give you strategies to implement to get you to that level. With first-time entrepreneurs, I just make the process easy. I got what I call my $2 million business plan that I use to basically, I'm still making money off the business plan I wrote in 2002. So think about it, 15 years ago. So I basically give them that strategy, like how to get in business really fast. I give them creative financing strategies, and then just different tools to kind of help them ascend faster, because it's a myth that you have to be in business for a year or 3 years before you make money. I just told you All right, like a few businesses I bought, they were already six
Yes.
figures. So
Yes.
was the myth. And after getting laid off, I started a $1,200 a day business. I didn't even have any experience in that industry. It was the loan industry.
Yes.
Now, if you can remember, I said I had to get a payday loan to make my payroll when I was living in my car, right?
Yes.
The business that I started was actually a business in which I helped people get payday loans online. So I took
Wow.
what I did and made a business out of it. And like
Smart.
the
Smart.
funny thing is, it was called Middleman Loan Pro. Like my logo was like a fat white guy on a and that's what and like I
It
tell
worked. I'm
entrepreneurs,
sure it worked.
oh no, put it like this: a problem for me then was getting changed for 100. Like I would have a
Wow.
money bag flushed with hundreds.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Amazing.
that's a
Are
good
you
problem.
accepting new clients now?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I coach from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week because this is what I love to do.
Wow.
This is what I love to
Wow.
do.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all this information with me and with the audience. And I will be more than happy to share this interview on YouTube and other social media outlets. And I hopefully you can come back on next year.
Oh yeah, or sooner
And
than that.
give us an update on your academy and maybe some, just speak to us about how life is going in your new academy.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me here.
Thank you, and you have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.